Hello and welcome to the late morning brew here on Politics Social. I am Graham Hughes. Nice to have you with us at this unusual time of 6 hours shifted into the future. It is just past 3 o'clock in the afternoon here in sunny Durham. It's not sunny. It's horrible out there. It's wet. It's windy. It's very grey. Anyway, but what's not great is our wonderful people in the chat. We've got Diz, we've got Blah Blah, we've got Martin Harrow in there, we've got Haruhi, we've got Sean in there as well. Harry Flashman has turned up. Hello, Harry. Welcome one and welcome all. If you'd like to join our friends in the chat, all you need to do is hit the subscribe button, wait for approximately 1 minute, and then you should be able to join in with the fun. So it is Monday, the 3rd of November, 2025. It's nearly over. We've only got a few more of these years, and then Trump won't be with us anymore. One way or another. But, you know, well done for getting this far. So I'm going to be talking about Nigel Farage today, unfortunately. I don't like talking about Nigel Farage, and I know I talked about him yesterday in his relationship with Nathan Gill, the Russian stooge, the Russian traitor working. Someone pointed out today, actually, about Nathan Gill. They said, because I was freaking out yesterday, for those who didn't see it, on the Sunday sermon. I was going, why did he only get 10 grand? Like, why didn't he ask for more money? Like, is he that cheap? And someone pointed out, these RefUK fuckers, they hate our country. He would have paid 10 grand to betray it. That was just like a little bonus. So let's talk about it. Let's talk about the reality of what Nigel Farage stands for. Really, what he says he stands for, but actually doesn't. He's now said that the 90 billion pound tax cut pledge that they made in their last manifesto was merely an aspiration, not an actual promise. You'll recognise that language because that's the same fucking thing that they said in 2016 where we went, where's the money for the NHS, Boris and Dominic and Jacob and Michael and Aaron and Wigmore and fucking that little gobshite Tice and Farage. Where's this £350 million for the NHS? And they said, oh, it's just aspirational. Didn't mean it. We didn't mean there was actually going to be that much extra money for the NHS. And here's the thing. This is the thing that drives me up the fucking wall. And like, just to go back to the Brexit thing for a moment, because we do need to talk about this for just 1 second, just to clear something up. We made $2 billion a week from being a member of the EU in trade. $2 billion a week. We made $100 billion a year from being part of the EU. Taxed at 40%. That meant 40 billion going to the exchequer every year. That's now not going to the exchequer. That's gone because of Nigel Farage and Boris Johnson and some other fuckers that are not around in the political sphere as much these days, apart from Nigel Farage and Richard Tice, who are still there. So in Farage's City of London speech, he insisted it wasn't a U-turn, it was just being realistic. He's always laughing, that guy, isn't he? You notice Farage is always laughing. Yeah, he's laughing at you. He's laughing at you because people are like, oh yeah, please take my rights away, Nigel. So yeah, these figures he gave were only ever aspirations. So the translation of that is we just pulled numbers out of our arse and hoped that magic would make it come true. No, they fucking lied. I mean, you can say a lot about these people, and I'll say a lot about them, but they're not fucking idiots. Their education was far too expensive for them to just be, common or garden idiots. These are psychopaths and sociopaths. These are people who they think about what they're doing. They know what they're doing. When they tell one of their little lieutenants, lieutenants, sorry, we're British. When they tell one of their little lieutenants to say something horrifically racist, that's not an accident. They want to test the waters. They want to say, hey, Say it drives you mad when you see brown people on the telly. See what happens. Yeah, see if we can get away with it. And they do get away with it as well. Blah blah CW just wants to say fucking YouTube. Yeah. There you go. It's not come up in the chat. Why is it come? No, what? Oh yeah, that's there. Blah blah CW. Next to bottom. But yeah. So what Nigel Farage just said is he's just contradicted the 2024 manifesto pledge that explicitly promised to raise the tax-free threshold to income tax to £20,000 and cut taxes equal to a third of the NHS budget. And here we go, right? You know, this is what can we call this? This is Reform's economic credibility crisis. Economists called Reform's original plan problematic because it would cost far more than it claims. So let's get down to the numbers here. In their original manifesto that was published last year as a proviso for people to vote for them, they promised £90 billion in tax cuts, £50 billion in spending commitments, and £150 billion on cuts in general, right? Reform has still not explained where these cuts will come from, barring vague talk about welfare. You cut welfare, that means the economy goes down. Because you cut welfare, there's lots of people who are working who are on welfare. They won't be able to do very much if they can't afford to feed their families, even though they got a job. So if anything, the welfare bill's going to go up. If you try and cut their welfare, say, oh, well, you got a job, you don't need welfare. Okay, cool. Now I can't afford to feed my family. So I'll tell you what, I'll stop the job and I'll go on to the full benefits because that'll be more, that'll be less problematic in my life, I guess. Path of least resistance. Net zero policies, they've got to get rid of all those terrible solar panels and the wind turbines that generate tens of gigawatts of electricity every year. And they're going to get rid of them. Hundreds of gigawatts every year, I guess. Yeah, they're going to get rid of them. They're going to get rid of them all. Because, you know, they've got to stop this net zero madness. And so they're going to pin the price of our household bills forevermore on foreign toxic slime that costs a fucking fortune. It's drilled out the ground in Saudi Arabia or Venezuela or Qatar or, you know, one of these countries that always do have our best interests at heart. And we can just be their gimps. They can just tell us what to do. They can slap us around. Love it when, you know, the Saudis come over, slap us around, make us pay twice as much to go visit our nan in our car because they decided to, I don't know, invade a neighbour or something. I love it when they do that. I love it when Russia goes, I'll tell you what, why do we make energy prices just fucking skyrocket by invading our neighbour? And we go, all right, thank you, Mr. Putin. Thank you for making us pay more for our energy bills. Thank you. That was a good thing you did, Mr. Putin. Yeah, that's the world that the RefUK fuckers want to create. This is why I call them RefUK fuckers, because they're just absolute fuckers. They want to stop asylum support. I'm sorry, but asylum seekers get fuck all as it is. The only reason why asylum seekers cost so much is because there's a huge backlog, which there shouldn't be, of asylum claims, which only happened under the Tories' watch because they took us out of the Dublin Agreement, so we didn't have access to fingerprints from all over Europe for refugees to see if they've already applied for asylum in another country. And if they had, we could say no automatically. It was a really quick process. Now we don't do that, and it's taken absolutely ages to process, going through the courts, going through the legal system, trying to suss out who is a genuine asylum seeker, which is over 70% of them, and who isn't. So they did this mess, and now Farage is saying we're going to stop all the asylum support, thereby violating international law. They want to also cut foreign aid, which has already been cut from 0.7% to 0.5% of our GDP. We've already cut that. But they want to get rid of it entirely, which is just setting up more problems in the future. Every single one of these things is going to end up costing more in the future. And they also want to cut the civil service. And as we've seen what happened in America, where the civil service has been absolutely decimated by Trump's cuts, you're seeing a lot of problems, and you're going to see a lot more over the next few years. There's going to be a plane crash. I guarantee it this month, there's going to be a plane crash in America. There was nearly one yesterday, or the day before, where two planes nearly hit each other at Dulles Airport. Was it Dulles Airport? Somewhere. It'll happen again. It's happened because the people doing the air traffic control are paid by the government, and they're not getting paid at the moment. So loads of people aren't coming in. There's not enough air traffic controllers for the planes. So there's going to be a crash. There was a near miss the other day. I think there was 2 near misses actually. Or there was something happened with a plane, like a door fell off or something. That's not really the air traffic controller's fault, but still. Yeah. Bridges falling apart and tunnels falling apart. And, if you get rid of all the civil servants, there's a lot of things that civil service do in the background that we don't even notice. But we'll notice when they don't do it. They're going to notice it in America. There's going to be some fucking disasters. You know that over 1,300 people died in Hurricane Katrina. The vast majority of people who died were drowned when the levees broke. The levees broke because of the people who were supposed to be looking after the levees weren't there. They were gotten rid of by the local government. They're like, well, we don't need that. We don't need people looking after levees. Anyway, Di Stanton, thank you very much for the £5 super chat. First super chat of the day, of the afternoon. Thank you. And never mind YouTube. What about bloody Kunzberg and Bruce? RefUK are their creation. Yes. Laura Kunzberg, Fiona Bruce, privately educated, of course. Do you see the link? I'm hoping people will. I know I bang on about it a lot, but I mean, it is kind of depressing that people just don't see this. They just don't make the link at all. And I'm just screaming it every time anyone asks me. They go, why is Britain the way it is? And I reply, because of private schools. You have to understand. It's not what you know. It's not who you know. It's what you know about who you know. If you all went to boarding school together and all wanked into a hat together and then someone had to wear it for the rest of the day, then you know things. You know things. You have the dirt on people. And you can use that to say, hey, do you reckon you could give me a job? Being a TV presenter? And they go, oh, well, I'm not really sure. There's some better people from a working class background who might be better at that job. And, take less cocaine. Be less problematic. Be less of a diva. Oh, no, but remember that time where we all wanked into a hat together? Oh, shit, yeah, I remember that. Yeah, okay. You've got a good point. That's a very good point. Say no more. Anyway, so, the idea that they're going to cut welfare, net zero policies, asylum support, foreign aid, and the civil service is, after the Tories cut. They have 14 years of austerity under the Tories. They cut local services to the bone. Liverpool Council got a 49% reduction in central government funding from the Tories. 49% reduction for a city of nearly 500,000 people. Just unbelievable. And then reformers apparently looking at public sector pensions, right? And they're suggesting they could cut the future incomes of millions of nurses, teachers, police. Farage is framing this as tackling management fees, but he didn't rule out benefit cuts. So the pension triple lock is not guaranteed under RefUK. Maybe you should tell your elderly neighbours who are thinking of voting for these fucking gang of dickheads and clowns and scumbags and grifters. Maybe you could let them know that they're thinking of doing away with the triple lock and making sure that pensions go kind of down a bit when inflation goes up and giving old people less money to live on. And then you got the minimum wage and workers' rights. Farage claims his minimum wage is too high for younger workers. Minimum wage too high. This is a man who earns £1.2 million a year on top of his salary as a MP. And he's like, hey, I'm sorry, darling. I went to private school and I worked in the city of London, but I think that minimum wage is far too generous. Oh, excuse me while I go and snort a tray of cocaine on my private fucking jet. Oh, and people vote for it. Working class people so angry about asylum seekers, all 10 of them coming across in a boat. Are like, this is it. I'm so angry. I'll vote for these people. They were gonna destroy my life. And that's the job. That's the job of populists, That's the job of the newspapers and the media in general. It's to make you so afraid, make you so fearful that you make really bad decisions. That is it. Just before we go on, I just want to share something with you because I think this is really interesting. Okay. And just to see it kind of like displayed in this way speaks volumes. But What it is it's just a simple bar chart, right? And I'll blow it up so it's a bit bigger here. Look, you can see that. And this is what Americans die from versus the causes the US media reports on. And have a look at this, right? Causes of death, number one, heart disease, 29%. After that, cancer, 27%. So that, between them, that's over 50% of all deaths in America. Then you got accidents, strokes, lower respiratory diseases, Alzheimer's disease, diabetes, kidney failure, liver failure, suicide, COVID-19, influenza or pneumonia, drug overdose, which is like 1.8%. And then it's got homicide, which is less than 1%. And then it's got terrorism, which is less than 0.001%. All right, you can read that as well as me, can't you? Yeah? Is that just the maddest thing you've ever seen? Like, okay, so there's all the... And this, on this side, on the right-hand side, this is the New York Times coverage in 2023. Heart disease, 2%. Cancer, 4%, 4.1%. Accidents, 9.7%, which is a little bit more than the actual accidents that people are killed by. But I suppose accidents are a bit more interesting, you know? And then you've got all these little lines here. Stroke, lower respiratory diseases, Alzheimer's disease, diabetes, kidney failure, liver disease. They're all mashed in together because they get so little coverage. Suicide gets a little bit of an outsized coverage. And then you've got COVID-19, understandable, maybe in 2023, when we're still reeling from the COVID pandemic, a little bit more. Drug overdose, right? So that's 0.8 in reality, and it was 7.5%. But this is where it gets really interesting. Look at this. Look at this. So homicide accounts for less than 1% of the deaths in America. Meanwhile, it's 42% of the causes that the causes of death that the US media reports on in the New York Times, which is one of the better newspapers, by the way. It's one of the better newspapers. And then we've got terrorism. And if you're going to have a look at like magnitudes of like the actual threat of terrorism, which kills fewer than 0.001% of Americans a year, that takes up 18% of the media reporting in America. And I just wanted to share that with you because I think that is so informative. The fact that if you see that and you go, okay, that's a bit wild, isn't it? That's a bit mad. But you know that that's the case, don't you? There's nothing in that bar chart that is particularly surprising. Of course, the newspapers are going to run with homicides. They're much more exciting. You know, if it bleeds, it leads. And so, yeah, it gives people this outsized fear of the outside world that everyone's out to get you. Stranger danger on every corner. In the 1970s and 80s, they ran these adverts for me, when I was a kid, to say, the guy comes round with puppies and chocolate in the back of his van. Don't get in the back of his van because he'll drive you off and he'll kill you and throw you in a park and bury you in a shallow grave somewhere. Right. Those adverts were fucking useless. The number of children who were actually abducted and murdered was very, very, very few, which is surprising considering our parents didn't know what the hell we were doing most of the time because we didn't have mobile phones. But here's the thing. What those adverts should have said is, hey, that priest? Hey, that scout leader? Hey, that Top of the Pops presenter? Yeah, they might be a nonce. Stay away from them. These adverts should have said, if anyone touches you in a way that you do not want to be touched, it is assault. That would have been better news. I didn't find that out until technically, if anyone touches you anywhere on your body and you don't want them to, under British law, it's assault. I only found that out when I was in university, right? Not because I got done for it, but because one of my good friends was studying law at the time. And she said to me, did you know that was the law? And I went, no, I didn't know. She said, that's the law. You can't touch someone anywhere on their body. That would have been a much better advertising campaign by the government of public information films than saying, oh, stranger danger, look out, there's going to be a guy with fucking ice cream and puppies and he's going to come and kidnap you. Because the chances of that happening were absolutely so mind-bogglingly remote that when it did happen, it was front page news. Disproportionately making you more scared to go outdoors. Disproportionately making you more scared to hitchhike or go out, see the world, go travel, do anything on your own because of the fear that you might get attacked. When the reality is, and this is a sad reality, but it's a reality nonetheless, when someone means you harm in this life, whether it's physical violence, whether it's sexual violence, it is 99 times more likely to be someone that you fucking know. Someone already in your life. But the newspapers, that's not going to sell newspapers. And this is what Nigel Farage and RefUK and Trump and Orban and Erdogan and fucking Bolsonaro and all these, and Dirty Duterte and all these fucking populist bastards around the world, they bank on that fear that is being churned out. Who's turning that handle, right? Rupert Murdoch, Lord Rothermere, the Barclay brother, turning the handle, going, let's make everyone terrified. Because terrified people make fucking terrible decisions. That's what they do. They terrorize everyone. They go, it's going to be awful. Oh my God, you can't go out. You get stabbed, you get robbed, you get murdered. I am either the luckiest person who has ever lived on the history of the world, or the world's not that bad. It's one of the two. One of the two. Maybe I am. Maybe I'm just the luckiest person out there. Billions and billions and billions of humans who have ever lived. I'm the luckiest. I do regard myself as pretty lucky, but not that lucky, in so many circumstances, in so many countries, traveling alone, with only my backpack and my Scouse charm to protect me. And I know things are different for different people, especially for women traveling on their own. It's not as easy as it is. That's my privilege. If you're black, not as easy traveling. You're brown, not as easy traveling. That's my white privilege. If you don't speak English, not as easy. That's my English privilege. Or English speaking privilege. I get all that. I absolutely get all that. But at the same time, if you only got your information from these fucking newspapers and these fucking politicians who want to scare the living shit out of you every fucking day of your life, you wouldn't go anywhere. You wouldn't do anything. I wouldn't have gone anywhere. I wouldn't have left the fucking country. I wouldn't have left my house. But I had an inkling they might be lying. And you know what? They fucking were. Anyway, back to Nigel Farage and his fucking tyranny of lies. He's also said he's going to dial back on the whole minimum wage. He's going to dial back on workers' rights. He wants national insurance contribution threshold lowered to £5,000 a year. So either raise the threshold or lower young workers' pay. And then he's attacked government workers' rights bill as hurting small businesses, which he absolutely doesn't. In fact, it makes more likely that people will start their own business because they'll be able to save a little bit to start a fucking business. When you have an entire workforce that is living day to day with no savings whatsoever, no nest egg, nothing to save up for, there is no chance of them starting their own business and employing people themselves one day. It's just not going to happen. You're born at a certain station in life and you live that life and then you die at that station. And then maybe when you are resurrected, maybe when you come back to life, you'll start off at a slightly higher station. You'll stay there for the rest of your life again, but a slightly higher station. So that'll be good. I don't want to live that life. I want to live a life where that's aspirational. I want to live a life that has social mobility, a real social mobility, which was a term made up by the aristocracy to take the piss out of the rest of us. Turns out. But there you go. So, and then you've got Farage whinging about the wealth drain is being like the 1970s brain drain. He opposes the non-dom tax, which meant that the wife of the Chancellor of the Exchequer, who then went on to be Prime Minister, the wife of the future Prime Minister, living in Downing Street, living in number 11 Downing Street, was claiming non-dom status, so she only had to pay £20,000 or £30,000 a year on the tens of millions she made each year. As a percentage of her income, it was negligible. It was 0.0001%. Farage wants to bring that back. Why? Because he is the voice of the aristocracy. He is the voice of the establishment. He is the voice of the billionaires. He is the voice of the Misterons. He's a fucking scumbag, and he's not our friend. He's not someone who's looking out for us. He's looking out for his rich mates who lend him his private jet so he can fly around to his 3 wives and 7 mistresses and how many, I don't know, children he has. I don't fucking know. He can afford them, can't he? Lucky bastard. Must be nice to be born a millionaire. Why is Farage such a massive knob? I don't know. If he was an actual massive knob, I might like him better, but he's not. He just is a massive knob, but he's not actually a massive knob. Ugh. These people. And you know, this thing to defend the rich, I keep seeing this woman who's like got a plastic face and she keeps turning up on LBC. She's a face for radio. And she keeps going on about how she's lived here for 2 fucking years, but she's going to leave because of all the taxes. I'm like, love, you've lived here for 2 years, then fuck off. You know, I've worked hard for all my money and the Labour government's come and take it away. Okay, good, bye. See you later. Go and live in Dubai. Rachel Reeves is talking about having an exit tax, which I really, really agree with. It's like 20% of everything you own. If you're going to leave the country, I want 20% of everything you own. And you don't get to keep your passport. Fuck off. And then, you know, anyone who is an entrepreneur in this country benefits from this country's tax system. I'm not just talking about dodging tax, which a lot of them do, because the tax dodgers. But I'm talking about the fact that this country educates people and allows them to read. Your website's not going to do too well if people can't read, if people can't add up. You know, if people can't read the fucking website, how are you going to sell stuff to them, dickhead? Hey, how does that work? If they're illiterate and innumerate, how are you going to sell stuff to them, Amazon? Hey, dickheads. How are you going to sell your books, X, Y, Z rolling, if no one can fucking read? Yeah? Those rich people, right? They've got rich off the fact that this society is created to make everybody, get them out of the gutter, so to speak, to a certain level, certain attainments. And if the state didn't do that, 93% of us who go to state schools, if our parents couldn't afford to send us to a school and we didn't get any education, we certainly wouldn't be buying any fucking Harry Potter books or buying things off Amazon. Because we wouldn't know how to. Like there's someone else to do it for us. You wouldn't be having this conversation. You wouldn't be writing all this stuff on the screen. You know, they don't see this stuff. They don't give a fuck. They don't give a fuck that they flush their shit down someone else's fucking sewers for the first 18 years, 21 years of their life. They're not giving a fuck. They didn't build it. They didn't build the school they went to. They didn't fucking pay for the school they went to. The parents might have. They didn't. Little shits. They got all that for free. And they turn around and go, well, I'm going to be taxed too much. I'm going to leave the country. Fine then. Fuck off. I don't want these people in my country anyway. They're fucking traitors. They can stay, but they have to go to jail. We'll take all their money. Oh, you said you want to leave? Okay, well, that's it. A bit like, what's that TV show, Silo? If you say you want to leave, that's it. Okay, put your suit on, fuck off into the fucking radiation fucking outside. Go on. Fucking die on the hill, motherfuckers. Anyway, so yeah. So he's talking about like if the rich leave, the poor in society will have to pay more tax. Which is just such, can we call it Faragian logic? You know, it's going to be the poor who have to pay if the rich leave. This is like defending the rich paying fuck all taxes and threatening to leave if they don't get to pay that. You know, if they don't get to their little tax loopholes, so they pay fuck all in tax. So they pay a lower amount of their income in tax than someone who's working full time as a nurse. Oh, I'm going to leave. And they go, oh, no, you've got to frame this in a certain way that makes it look like it's bad for working class people that these fucking rich fuckers leave. It's not. They can't take everything with them. Can't take the houses with them. Can't take their buildings. We shouldn't allow them to take their businesses with them. We should clamp down on that like a bunch of motherfuckers. The Con's tenure, followed by Labour's perceived limp attempt to fix things, has made a lot of people fall for Farage's populist spell. I do not think that spell will last that long, though. Yeah. It was Zach Polanski's birthday yesterday, which is nice. So I said happy birthday to Zach. Should I get him on the show? Should I see if Zach wants to come on? He's been on before, you know. But yeah, that'd be quite an interesting show to do. Maybe we could get Zach and Phil doing a show. What do you reckon? Would you vote for that? Would that be a bit too mad? I don't want to fall out with either of them. Charlie Mullins. I met Charlie Mullins when he was anti-Brexit. And apart from his, Rod fucking Stewart from Temu sort of looked to him, he seemed quite sensible about Brexit, but then he's decided to become a big fucking... He looked like he shouldn't want Brexit. He looked like he should want Brexit, and he didn't, which was kind of surprising. But yeah. Anyway, I know this is a bit unusual because I couldn't do the show this morning for personal reasons. So I'm just going to put in. We're gonna do a confetti. We're gonna do confetti. I've kind of got to finish at 4 o'clock on the knocker because I've got to do a school run. I've put a goal up. So if you get 5 super chats, any colour between now and the hour, then you'll get some confetti, and I'll be very, very happy. Other news. While I'm halfway through the show. Tonight we're doing stateside. Me and Scott. We're talking about the mad shit Trump's been up to over the last week. Oh my god, the stuff that's happening in America is just like it's a million miles an hour. It's crazy. Anyway, we can have a good giggle at that together. But we're doing it at 7:30 tonight. It's normally at 9 o'clock, but tonight it's going to be at 7:30. Okay, so it's going to be at the same time as Geoscope normally is on Tuesdays. We're going to have our episode of Stateside at 7:30. So yeah. Get Zach on, says Witchy Goff. That'll be really cool. No, I think that'll be cool. Have you got abreast of things with the Greens yet, lol, says Captain Coconut. I'm not going to ask him that. Richie Goff, the unalive was caught and his white British male. Where is the outrage? We ask where the parents are, but we shouldn't have to. We should all be strafe on the streets. A woman on train was being harassed by 6 drunk men. She had to try and ignore them and took all precautions she could, but they carried on. So the full carriage, no one stepped in. So in Germany, there is a law that says if you see another human being in distress, it is not just your moral obligation to go and help them out. It's your fucking legal obligation. And Germans have been taken to court for not helping out, for walking on by when they've seen someone in a spot of bother. I think we should have that law in the UK. Don't you? Martin, thank you very much for the £2 super chat. Trump is losing it more and more. Well, yeah. I mean, there's an argument to say he never had it, but oh my God, he pardoned some guy a couple of months ago who was like, he diddled the Americans out of billions in one of these cryptocurrency fucking scams or something. And he was in jail. And Trump has fucking let him out, right? And he was asked about this bloke in this interview that Trump did for 60 Minutes, right? He was asked about it. And he went, I don't know him. I don't know who that is. You pardoned him? You signed his pardon? Oh, did I? Okay. Can't watch tonight at the Stadium of Light seeing Sunderland beating Everton, says Francis. Ooh, very confident, are we, Francis? Thank you for the super chat. Come on, you Blues. Come on, you Blues. Come on, you Blues. Everton logo, I guess. It's not a flag. It's a cushion. It's not a flag. It's a cushion. There's lots of jokes going around about J.D. Vance and Charlie Kirk's widow. And the sad thing is, the wife of J.D. Vance can't even, punish him by making him sleep on the couch. Do we need to get the squeaky tank out? Anyway, so, yes. What's he doing? Nigel Farage refusing to do the triple lock, refusing to prop up workers' rights. He wants to pull us out of the European Convention on Human Rights, which take away workers' rights. He wants to protect the rich, protect the non-doms. And he said he'd lift the 2-child benefit cap only for low-paid couples who both work. And RefUK announced huge cuts to disability benefits last week, claimed they will save $9 billion by scrapping PIP for what they call low-level anxiety, which is based off this fucking speech that horrible Neanderthal did. Neanderthal. Leanderthal, did Lee Anderson, where last week, where he said that there's all these people and they're claiming loads of benefits for ADHD and for anxiety, and he said, oh, you know, the lads in World War One, because they're fucking obsessed with the fucking war. Honestly, mate, I'm sick of it. I'm just fucking sick of it. I think there's got to be a movement in the next few years of just people going, can you just stop going on about the war? You know, lest we forget, oh, fuck off. Lest we forget, fuck off. I'm sick of hearing about it. I don't give a fuck. These people died 110 years ago for no reason whatsoever. I mean, maybe I'll have a bit more respect for the, you know, the dead of World War II, because I guess they were fighting fascism. I don't think they had much of a choice either. But these lads were going out and being sent over the top because the rich were having a fucking war. The aristocracy were having a war with each other. These princes, these kings, these grandchildren of Queen Victoria were having a fucking Barney. And all these aristocratic tough bastards, all the officer class, they all sent the lads over the top, didn't they, to fucking die, to get butchered. And we celebrate this now. We go, oh, wasn't that great? Wasn't that a wonderful thing? Oh, think back to the war. Wasn't it fucking great when we had that bloody big horrible war and a million British young lads fucking died for the rich? You know, why is it like around here in Durham, they go mad for it? Like every fucking village has got some shitty fucking bench that looks like it's been put together by a particularly ungifted fucking child who's been allowed to play with a welding gun and welding lance. What is it called? Something. Welding thing. But blowtorch. The lads are fucking go nuts with a blowtorch. And it's like, it just upsets. And the other thing is mining around here. Like, fuck that shit. Again, the rich aristocrats making an absolute fucking killing off the backs of the working classes. And they celebrate it. They're like, oh, wasn't this great when it was all a fucking coal mine? I'm like, no, it was shit. It was fucking shit for everyone. It was horrible. All the people who lived here fucking died at the age of 40 of black lung. They lived every day going down a fucking hole where they might, I don't know, suffocate. They might run out of fucking air. They might get drowned with the water. You know, if the tunnels filled up with water, you don't fucking know. What a shit job. But it made the aristocracy a fuckload of money. You know, go visit Lord Londonderry's fucking home over in Ireland. Yeah, it's National Trust property now. Fuck me, that was built on the back of slave labour in this county, on the back of children. Because he was an MP, by the way, this guy, Lord Londonderry. He was a fucking MP, wasn't he? For the Tory party, of course he was. And he stood up in Parliament and said that 8-year-olds should be down his mines because only 8-year-olds can get their hands through the little gaps, you see. They can stick their heads through the tiny little gaps and chisel away. And a grown man can't do that. Their heads are too big. Genuinely said that in Parliament. It's on fucking Hansard. There's a statue of this cunt in the middle of our city. He's here in Durham, right? There's a statue of him on a fucking horse with a twat hat on, with a fucking feather in his fucking hat like a white twat. Fucking, you know, celebrate the fucking aristocrats who put thousands, hundreds of thousands of Durham children in the fucking ground in more ways than one. Fucking argued against Parliament in 1841, going, oh, do you know what? Maybe we shouldn't send kids down fucking mines. We should let them have a little bit of a childhood. And these are the same pearl clutchers who are always like, oh, someone think of the children. Captain Coconut, £5 super chat. Thank you very much. Some might say. Reform MP Sarah Prewson refuses to drink Ribena as she believes that there are far too many black currants in it. Ba-dum. And Miss Paula Thomas says, £2. World War One equals family argument with millions dead. Yeah, what's this to celebrate? What's this to remember? Like, what am I supposed to fucking do? What am I supposed to do to remember the dead? Like, I don't know them. I never knew them. I didn't go to school with them. You know, it made sense in the 1920s, 1930s, 1940s. You know, people grew up with these people. And they're not there anymore. Okay, you memorialise them. That's someone I know. I don't know them anymore. Right? And that particular war, although it was absolutely fucking horrific for everyone involved, like, how would I stop that again? How would remembering what happened in World War One stop me doing, you know, stop it happening again? Maybe if I thought, well, you know what? It was the aristocracy. And they had too much power. And it was like these wealthy industrialists. And they had too much power. And so what they did when they had an argument, we got dragged into it. And it was us lot who died. Oh, maybe I should dedicate my life to not, allowing that to happen again in the few ways that I, can actually do something, affect some kind of change. I don't know. Maybe I should do that. Do you think that's what the fucking meatheads with the fucking British flags up on every fucking lamppost are thinking? With the lest we forget fucking stickers all over their fucking car? No, they're not thinking of that. They're not thinking like, hey, fuck the aristocracy. They did all that World War One-ing. No. They're like, hey, we'll do that again. No forelocked gone untugged. No calf shall go undoffed. I had someone on my fucking Facebook, right, the other day, right? I put something up about the aristocracy, whatever, being cunts. And someone put something about in defense of rich twats who don't want to pay any tax, right? So I said, that's nice. It's always good to have people who support the rich because they don't get enough support as far as I'm concerned. They are really the forgotten class of people that we just talk about and allowed to control all means of communication and most discourse in public life. Although we allow them to dominate that, they have a bad. They don't have it great, do they? The very rich. Anyway, so I take the piss, right? And I said, oh yeah, I'm sure you're, doffing your forelock and tugging your cap when you see your, 17-year-old nepo baby whiz past in a £100,000 Ferrari that his daddy's fucking bought him, and he's like, yeah, I fucking love it because I know how much VAT he's paid on it, and I'm just like, you fucking idiot. The reason why your insurance premiums are so fucking high is because of kids like that who then go and wrap that Ferrari around a fucking tree. That's why your insurance premiums cost so much. That's why you can buy a car for 200 quid, but to insure it costs 800 quid. Work that one out. It's because of all the rich fuckers on the car, the nepo babies. It's a nepo baby tax that we all have to pay to account for the fact that there are kids out there who are driving these fucking cars that are worth 100,000 fucking pounds for a week until they write it off. Usually kill someone in the process, those stupid little bastards. Anyway, but it's the way. People around here, they haven't got fuck all. They live in the terrace streets and old mining communities. I say it's a village, but it's not. It's not like a village. It's not like your fucking, I don't know, Cotswolds village. It's a fucking mining village. It's a hard place made in the 1800s, built in the 1800s for the workers down the fucking mine. It's pretty basic. It's pretty basic. Oh, confetti! Thank you very much to Ian Jar there for the £2 and the confetti. Woo! We made our target, so thank you for that. Okay, so just to finish off what I was saying about Farage, he admits that Brexit opportunities were squandered. Sorry, but there was no opportunities in Brexit. It was all downhill from there, mate. And he says, deregulation, opportunity wasted, regulation worse now than 2016. Yeah, you've made everything worse, you daft bastard. But it's interesting, he said that if Brexit was a disaster, he'll leave the country. He's still fucking here. Why are you still here, Nigel? Can you fuck off? And Labour blames Farage for poor economic growth, and he just shrugs and blames others, doesn't he? But actually, no, he has kept his word. He has left the country now that Brexit's a disaster, so he can make more money elsewhere while still being an MP here, because he comes back like... Because, tax benefits here. Tax benefits. But yeah, they've gone after disabled people. They've gone after the elderly. They've gone after the young. They've gone after working people. They've gone after fucking everyone. And and he said it's not a one-man band. It totally is. And he's refused to say who his chancellor would be if they won the election. It's just a Nigel Farage party. Take Nigel Farage out of the equation, and you get about the same vote share as you get for UKIP. So I've got 15 minutes left, so what I want to talk about quite quickly towards the end here. We're not going to bother going through the papers. There's no fucking point. You know what's going to be on the front cover. It's all about the stabbing last night on the train. There's 8 RefUK run councils preparing tax hikes. Despite promising to fight for lower council tax, RefUK councils revealed. In Durham, they are ending council tax exemption for low-income households. They're considering a 5% rise here in Durham. So they came in saying, we're going to be Doge, we're going to cut all this all this red tape, all this bureaucracy, all this nonsense, all this woke nonsense is costing us so money. We've got to get rid of it all. And there wasn't any. There wasn't any. There wasn't any. And instead, because of their mismanagement of our council here in Durham, our council taxes are going up by 5%. I really want to just knock on the doors of all the people around here and just go, are you fucking mad? Did you vote for a 5% increase on my council tax? Can you fuck off? If you're that fucking thick, can you not vote next time, please? Can you just fucking stay at home? I will give you money. I will give you 5% of what we pay on the council tax. I'll give you 4% of it, right? Just so it doesn't go up by another 5% next year because of these daft clowns still in government. Oh, they will be still in government. We don't have an election that often, do we? Motherfuck, suck with this. 5%. 5 fucking percent. Where's Labour telling people this? Why aren't the local Labour lot putting a leaflet through everyone's door going, your council tax is going up by 5%, you know, because of fucking RefUK? Did you vote for them, you stupid twat? Maybe next time don't vote. Maybe next time just stay at home. Just stay at home doing whatever the fuck you do. Stay home, watch supermarket sweep or whatever. Fuck, I'm showing my age there. Warwickshire. It's a bit lower than 5% accepted. West Northamptonshire. A rise has been said highly likely. Leicestershire, a 3% increase after promising to reduce tax. Worcestershire actually fucking consulted on a 10% rise. Not just a 5% rise. It's the maximum they're allowed. Normally, a 10% rise, which requires the government's approval. They have asked if they could put it up by 10%. And then the Derbyshire, the quote is it's a bit of a straitjacket, the amount they get, so a rise is likely there. Staffordshire hopes for less than 5%, but say, we'll see. Lancashire and Lincolnshire, rise of over 2% is likely. And in Kent, where adult social care is, in their words, down to the bare bones, they're going to get the full 5% rise. And here's the reality, hitting these knobheads like nothing else. Like the council leaders report shows social care costs are consuming budget. Services are already cut to the bone. Duh! Hello, McFly! Do you not already know that? Like, how could you not know that after 14 years of Tory fucking cuts? The Tories cut funding for councils that weren't even fucking Tory councils, right? If people are stupid enough to vote for the Conservatives, fine, don't have any council services, pick up your own shit, fucking look after your own relatives, clean up your own, fill in your own potholes, and I don't know, collect your own rubbish, fine, whatever, right? But in Labour run, and Lib Dem, and Green run councils, the central government funding was cut under the Tories. And so they had to backheel a lot of council services that helped ordinary people. Sure Start was kicked out of the minute minute the Tories got into power. They didn't want that. We don't want helping out working people. They don't want helping fucking, the plebs. Why do they deserve a sure start? This isn't the people who were given such a sure start. They went to fucking Eton. That's a bit of a sure start, isn't it? If you want to get on in life, fuck me. Anyway, so nothing left to cut, apparently. Inflation is making cuts impossible and more demand than ever before, and that demand is growing. This is what they're saying. This is what these RefUK councils are saying. And there you go. That's what happens when easy answers meet reality. The Lib Dems have said they don't know what they're doing. Not the Lib Dems, the RefUK. They've said the RefUK don't know what they're doing. And they really don't, because none of these people have been local government before. They haven't got a fucking clue. We watched the first episode, the first full council meeting over the summer here in Durham. And they didn't know how it operates, how it worked. They'd obviously never sat in a council meeting before to take note of how a council meeting works. They didn't even fucking know. It was so embarrassing. It was so fucking cringe. And RefUK is claiming that it's slashed 100 million in waste in the first 100 days. Like, where? Come on, go show us the figures. Show us the genuine figures. What the fuck? Then, they're blaming Tory mismanagement and the Labour government for penalising financially responsible councils. It's not the case. The Tories cut funding to all councils, pretty much. There's footage out there of Rishi Sunak, worth over £700 million, bragging about the fact that they had taken Labour's funding formula, which prioritised funding towards inner city areas, and giving them to places like Tunbridge Wells, which doesn't need the fucking money. But, you know, and he laughed about it. He laughed about it. He laughed about it. Of course he did. Fucking scumbag. Anyway, so, Reform campaign to cut. They campaigned on a manifesto to cut council tax. And every single council they are running, they're putting the council tax up. Because once they got in, they realised that services cost money. Social care budgets are immovable. Potholes don't fill themselves. And populist slogans don't pay the fucking bills. Therefore, they're raising taxes on ordinary people, particularly punitive taxes. Don't forget, as a proportion of your income, council tax is one of the most fucking disproportionate taxes you can fucking pay. It's not a percentage of your income. It's a set amount based on the bandwidth of your home, the band that your house is in, which was decided on a drive-by in 1990 when someone drove past in a car and went, yeah, that's a D. Yeah, that's an E. Yeah, that's a B. Oh, that's a C. Probably. I don't know. Write it down as a C. And so people who are living in mansions are paying less council tax. People living in mansions in London are paying less council tax. Millionaires and billionaires living in mansions in London pay less council tax. I mean, forget about the percentage here, but just less as a total in council tax than to working people here in Durham in one of the terraces around here. How is that right? How is that fair? How is that equitable? This is the thing. This is the future that RefUK wants. This is the reality of now. This is the future the Tories want. Because this is the most important thing that we need to get across to people. Do you like the Tories? No, they fucked us. They destroyed the economy and they did all these terrible things and they gave us Brexit. Okay, cool. RefUK are a more extreme version of the Tory party. They are cut from the same cloth. They all went to school together. They all went to private school together. 80% of RefUK MPs are privately educated. How many Green MPs were privately educated? 0. Not a single one. 3 of them went to grammar schools though. And 1 went to a comp. But there's the reality for you there. You vote RefUK, get the Tories. Get the Tories back. That's what they're banking on. That's what they're banking on. And, you know, I wouldn't put it past Robert Jenrick to do some kind of deal with the RefUK fuckers. Maybe merge them into one and have Farage as their leader. Do the great Tory reset thing that they love to do. Occasionally, where they go, oh, we've got a new leader now. We're a completely different party. Did we tell you we're a whole new party? Now we've got a new leader. Yeah. The point is, populists cannot campaign. Populists can campaign, right? They can absolutely do that. They're really good at it, right? I'm not going to take that away from them. Populists can campaign like motherfuckers. But time and time and time again, we see they cannot govern. And I hope that the absolute bullshit that we've seen around the country with people's council taxes going up, right? All over the country, right? Where there's a RefUK council, right? A cunty council. I hope that people see there that is what it's going to be like. Do you want it? Do you want that as the future? And unfortunately, some people do. Some people do. Because we've been sold a lie. We've been sold a lie that it doesn't matter the circumstances of your birth. If you work hard, you try hard, you'll be able to get nice things in life. You'll be able to, you know, get a car, buy a house, nice little picket fence, have a garden, you know, plant some flowers, find a partner, have children, settle down, retire in the Algarve. It's not going to happen now. They've taken all that away. The younger generations, they're never going to retire. Because of the stinginess, the meanness, and the cruelty of people who were born with everything. And the people who were born with fuck all, who managed to make something of their lives because society at that time allowed them to. Society has stopped that. That doesn't happen anymore. You need to be incredibly lucky or incredibly talented, or usually quite a lot of both, to make any headway. And I'm sick and tired, right? Here's my beef, right? Presenters on the TV who are as thick as pig shit just drives me up the fucking wall. You know, the ones who just read the auto cue, especially if they're doing the news. It was just driving me up the wall on like breakfast TV, where you'd have, you know, the old man and the young lady. Because it was always that was always the dynamic, wasn't it? An old man and a young lady. Weird, that, wasn't it? Young, usually attractive lady. And they would laugh about how little they know. They go, oh, well, you know, I don't know much about music or films or sport or TV or, you know, anything really. And they make a joke between them. They say, oh, I've never heard of this person that everyone's talking about. And they go, oh, that's because you're really old. I'm like, they're a fucking TV presenter who talk about what's in the news every day. The least they can do is find out who's fucking who. Do you want me to buy you a book? Do you want me to buy you a who's who? Or maybe an afternoon on fucking Wikipedia would help enlighten you. Always pissed me off, that. And so many presenters who didn't go to private school, who would do a fucking fantastic job and actually know what they're talking about and actually have a bit of passion about it, but they ain't got a word in. They don't get to present, you know. They don't get to make TikToks. Not ones that anyone watches anyway. RefUK voters only plant daisies. Plant daisies, different flowers could be considered diverse. Graham, vote RefUK, and I think we will get something other than the Tories, matey. Something that we should use the history books to understand. Suffice to say, no one wants it except the rich. No, but this is the thing. Like, I agree that no one who's being rational will want it. But what I'm contending is that the rich, who own all of our communications, right? So the richest man in the world owns Twitter. The second richest man in the world is going to buy TikTok. The third richest man in the world owns Facebook. It goes down the list like that. And they all own other stuff as well. And Jeff Bezos owns the New York Post. Is it the Washington Post? Yeah, it's Washington Post. These people own the means of communication. And these are evil motherfuckers. These are people who are sociopaths, cold stone killers. They would happily watch someone die if they knew they were going to get some money out of it. They'll probably get off on it. The sick fucks, right? They've made us so scared. They've made us fucking terrified of everything. Jumping at shadows, going, "Oh my God, there's the EU!" You know. All these people who are having a shit time right now. They're having a shit time because they've lost their job, or they're not getting paid enough, and they can't afford to go on holiday, and they're really stressed out by work, and they don't get a moment to themselves, and kids cost so much money, and they can't afford their kids, and they feel like they're letting their family down, and they're scared all the fucking time. They're just fucking terrified. And along comes Nigel Farage, flash fucking Swiss Tony, and he goes, "Hey, you know what would bring back your erections? You know what would bring back your dog from the dead? You know what would bring back the wife and kids? If we killed all the immigrants. Hey, you with me? Yeah? Yeah? Yeah. How about we get rid of all the immigrants? We send them packing. The people coming over in the boats as well, because they're not technically immigrants. They're asylum seekers. It's slightly different, right? But whatever. It's people coming here from somewhere else. Let's stop that happening. And then all the wonderful things that'll happen. All the wonderful things that'll happen to you. They never mention that if we do that, then if you go to the hospital for an operation, you can be waiting a lot longer than a year, mate. You're going to be waiting a lot longer than 2 years. Gonna be waiting a lot longer than 3 fucking years. Because there's gonna be no fucking doctors to do the fucking surgery, you daft twat. There's gonna be no anaesthetists to knock you out. There's gonna be no fucking nurses to clean up your fucking shit and your sweat and your blood and your vomit. There's gonna be no care workers to look after you in the care home. Because there's not gonna be enough people. Because we're not having kids. Because they're too fucking expensive. Mate, you're going to have people, working class people, voting for RefUK. Because not because they think it's going to make their lives any better, but they're going to vote for RefUK because it'll stick one to those boat people who they hate. You got to understand, they've been told to hate them. In the same way that a few years ago they hated the EU. Didn't know anything about the EU, but they hated it because they were told who to hate by the toffs. Exactly like in World War One, when they said, "Who do we hate, toffs?" And the toffs went, "Those Germans over there. You hate them. Go and run at them over the minefield." Okay, if that's what the toffs want, that's what the toffs will get. Me, dead in fucking no man's land, screaming in agony, before I die, screaming in agony, and then dying slowly of a bullet wound. It's one of the most painful ways to die. Fun? Have we moved on? Did we forget? I think we did. Mate. Every one of these stupid motherfuckers putting up their lest we forget flags, getting in poppy rages because someone went on the TV without a poppy. I'm never wearing a poppy again. I'm sorry, Royal Legion. I'll give you some money, right, to look after the old soldiers, but fucking not wearing a fucking poppy. Do you know why? Not a virtue signaler, mate. I've got no virtues to signal. Couldn't give a fuck. If you're not going to learn the lessons of history, go fuck yourselves, as far as I'm concerned. If you're not actually going to stand by the flag that you say, that you love, that you've put up upside down, on a lamppost outside your house, if you're not actually going to stand up for what that means and what that is, the symbol of our country, not Russia, not Saudi Arabia, not America, this country. If you're not going to stand by what you write on a flag that says lest we forget, if you're not going to stand by that, then fuck off. I'm sorry. Fuck off. I'm sick of it. Every fucking year now, it gets madder and madder. When I grew up in the 80s, we weren't that mad about this. I was in the church choir, so we used to do Remembrance Sunday. That was it. None of this. Do you know what? The 50th anniversary of the end of the Second World War was the first time. 1995 was the only time I remember we actually kept a minute's silence at 11. Up till then, my whole school career from 1979, well, I was born in 79, so, my entire school career, I don't remember keeping a minute's silence at 11 o'clock on the 11th. We just didn't, unless I was in church, in a service for remembrance. And there were people there in the remembrance services in the 1980s who had fought in the fucking wars, both of them. Okay? So there was a connection. There is no connection anymore. Everyone involved in World War One is dead. Absolutely everyone. And the people who fought in World War Two, well, they created the European Union and then their children pulled us out of it. Thanks a bunch, boomers. Not all of them. But more than half. Okay, I'm going to fuck off now. School run time, Graham. Yes, you're absolutely right, Martin. Can't be late. Get the kids. Okay, Graham, vote RefUK, and I think we'll... I've read that one. Vote reform voters, only plat days. I've read that one as well. Breaking train derailment in Cumbria, closes West Coast main line. Quayside landslide. That was a while ago, wasn't it? I thought that was it. That was this morning, wasn't it? That's great. Anyway, Ian said this is your 4 p.m. alarm. So I've got to 1:15 before I have to actually go out the door. But I will wrap it up there. Thank you so much for watching in this late morning brew. And I'll see you in a few hours, literally 7:30 tonight. Me and Scott Williams will be going through the mad shit that's been going on in America. Oh my God. So please join us for that. We've got a lot to get through in an hour. So until then, as Kirsty says, toodles. Give us a like on the way out. And until next time. Hello, good evening, welcome, and goodbye.